So nice to see you. Um, I'm super happy to be here. It's been a few times that I've presented here at the HFF in collaboration with FilmFest, and you saw a couple of those animated slash edited, created, generated shorts. We did those in the summer during a workshop in a very, very short time. That was a challenge, like to come up with something really fast. Usually you would iterate a little bit more, refine it, but this was like an experiment for, for young people to try out how you can get something going with the same start and end, and to have some unique results. So these were done in Firefly. But that's not going to be the topic today. So first of all, let me just say hi again. My name is Robert, and I work at Adobe as a so-called Senior Pro Video Evangelist. It's a fancy title, but basically my background is coming from being a self-employed freelancer, doing motion graphics, visual effects, title animation, 3D animation for over 20 years here in Munich. And I joined Adobe pretty much about 2 years ago. And one of my core jobs or core principles is to inspire the aspiring, to show what is possible with the latest tools, with upcoming tools, create cool stuff basically, and just inspire you guys to show you what you can do with it. So it's really a fantastic opportunity to also get together with the community, with everyone that is creative. So that's all of you guys. So I really, really appreciate this. Thank you for coming. Even though there's really good weather, I appreciate it. And a little bit, why you're wondering why I have this fancy boot. So just like, I'm gonna spend like a minute about this. I love playing basketball. I've been playing for 30 years, not professionally, but somewhat high. I enjoy it so much that for 30 years I was blessed not having a severe injury up until 3 weeks ago when I tore my Achilles tendon. And that's like one of the worst injuries you can have next to an ACL. So I was Googling like, who else tore his tendon? His Achilles tendon. And I saw, Kobe Bryant, Jason Tatum, Russell Crowe, The Rock, Brad Pitt, George Clooney. So you kind of get the idea, I would say. I'm in good company, I would say. I feel confident that... that I will manage this, because this was done by Emily, my colleague. She presented this in France, where I should have been able to speak, but I couldn't because I was in surgery. But she did this, just to honor basically and explain those people like how high I can jump, up into space. And she wanted to make it as cliche as possible. I think she did a pretty good job with this. So with that aside, I'm happy that I could manage to come to you to show you the latest and greatest what we have. So feel free to follow me up on Instagram. I really want to hit the 4K subs, so you don't have to follow me, but please follow me, okay? So this is out of the way. We can get going. So the show must go on. That's the motto for today, because I was so bummed thinking I will not make it, but I'm happy that it worked out, because I have a pretty packed agenda for you guys, because a lot of that was already prepared. Some of the things that I'm showing are somewhat last second. Also last second that I'm doing this in English, so I changed it about 30 minutes ago from German to English, but hey, I live for the challenge. So the first thing I would like to show you is our latest and greatest mobile app, which is Premiere for iPhone. So that's something that we've been working on for quite a long time. I've been testing it for almost a year. It was Project Violet before in the App Store, somewhat hidden / not hidden, but not advertised. So we were gathering feedback from the community. It's a super powerful app that is free, that is very performant, and you can download it today and use it today. There's no watermarks. There's no limits really. The only thing that is via cost is anything that is generative AI. So I need Firefly services to generate video from an image, or generate video in general, or generate sound effects. That's basically a paid service. Everything else, editing, exporting, importing, anything that you can envision, it works in 4K HDR. You can do that. You can record voiceovers. You can improve the voice. You have access to thousands of free assets that you can also add. That includes sound effects, music, and also images and videos. Now, I think it's better to just show it, because I don't want to kill you guys with slides. I only have like 122 left, so we better get going with the actual demo. So what I have here is, that's my home screen, and you can see on the top left that you'll find Premiere for iPhone. Right now it's just on iPhone, but we're working on an Android version. Who's on iPhone? Just show of hands. Okay, who's on Android? Okay, that's quite a lot. We're still friends, okay, so just because I'm a fanboy doesn't mean that. And we're also working on an Android version, so keep your eyes peeled for that. For now, we have it on iPhone, and it's a native iPhone app, so it's not something that's been ported. It's been natively developed with iPhone in mind. And in fact, we just received a review recently from someone that has accessibility issues, and he could use the screen reader that's built into iOS to work with Premiere on mobile, which he was super thankful because he said very few apps can actually do that. So that's something we'll be very proud of. Now, when you open it up, it's a super slick app. Nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy. Everything is well organized. You have a couple of buttons on the top, so you can start right away. You can also create a blank project if you want to import later. You can also extract audio. That's something a lot of people do on mobile. They have some audio or video track where you want to get audio off. You can do that. And of course, you have a couple of options. The last three, which is generative stuff like generate image, image to video, and expand image. I will talk about that in a minute. Now, to give you a little head start on how you can get started, first of all, there's that little icon here with the info, so you can get a quick start guide. So this will show you a little bit of how you can work with Premiere iPhone. But since I've used it once or twice, let's get going with this. So I can go new from library, and I can go to my collections, and then I can scroll through my albums, and then I can go to Premiere Mobile. And this is using the default iOS folder structure, basically. So it's accessing directly your library. And the way it works is basically you can select all the shots you want to have. So I love wakeboarding. That's another thing I can't do right now, but don't get me started with this. So I'm just selecting a couple of clips. So 1, 2, 3, and this will also be the order of the timeline. Okay, so when I load those clips up, this will be the order of the clips in my timeline. Now, a couple of things happen here in the background. So first of all, as you can see, it's buttery smooth. Okay, I can just scroll through as it's nothing. It's 4K HDR content, and I can just play with it really, really well. A little bit of housekeeping. So first of all, in the top, you have the option to choose your format. So you can choose the aspect ratio from horizontal to vertical. We're friends with both formats, right? Just because, it couldn't be widescreen enough for me, right? This is cinema, right? But the reality is 9:16 is a common format, right? Because of the phones. So instead of just being mad about it, just embrace it. Just embrace it as just another format. Because I studied design, for print. If someone would tell me like, hey, you can only lay out like letters in landscape, and I say, hey, I don't want to do portrait formats, they go like, are you stupid? That's your job, So it's just another format. So let's try to look at it what it is. It's just a format. So you can choose any of those formats you like, and you can work with that. And of course, you also have the full screen preview, so it will rotate. So if you all want to, can we just rotate? No, we can't. No. So basically, that's how you can work with widescreen stuff. Now, one thing that happens, which is really cool, since we have the majority of the clips in 16:9, but apparently 1 or 2 clips in 9:16, you will see that it's actually adding that also to a 16:9 frame, but it will blur and duplicate what is in front. So it's doing that automatically. Of course, you can get rid of that. But that's the beauty of it, because no matter what format you have it, even if you change it to a 9:16 format, it will also work. And you can even go ahead and change it on the fly as you go. And then if you go to a clip like this will happen vice versa. But of course, you can also go in and just scale up the image and just reframe it and reposition it so you can make sure that it fits. In fact, you can also duplicate a project if you want that you started in either format and then change it on the go for, let's say, for mobile export or for social export. Now, this is the format that you have. This is the layout that you did. Basically, this is the editing. Now, when we say it's a very precise editor, we mean that you can really zoom in to a frame level, and you can have frame level accuracy, so you can basically use your fingers to make it snap here, and you can also feel it with a haptic engine. So believe me, you can feel it. I'm feeling it. It's like that feels good. Haptic engine for the win. Now, what can you do with this? Well, of course, you can select multiple clips and you can add transitions and everything. But if you will focus your eye on the left here, on that little icon here on the top left, on the middle left, there you can resize the app, or basically the area that you're working with. So if you have only like one track, then it's easier to work like this. If you have multiple tracks and you have theoretically unlimited tracks, so you can have as many tracks as you like with sound effects, images, videos. So it really depends on what you want to work. If you're happy with this, then okay, you can, you will say, how can I see what I'm working on? Well, you can always click on the preview button, and then you will see that how that works. Okay, now if you look down in the lower end, I think everyone can see that. You will see that you have a couple of actions. So first of all, if I'm selecting a clip, I have different options than deselecting a clip. So if I'm deselecting a clip, I can add multiple assets like video, audio, and titles and text. And if I select a clip, it's context sensitive, so it will give me corresponding options. Like changing the speed, reversing the playback. I can just reverse it, just like that. And you know what? Reversing, I was looking like before Premiere Mobile, I was looking so hard for an app. I had to download apps to be able to reverse a clip on mobile, which is crazy. I just wanted to play back something in reverse order, and it just didn't work. For example, something like this, where I'm just letting go of that. I can say I want to reverse the clip, and then magically the pedal will go up. Just like playing. I did this with my kids; they really loved it. So it was just really nice. Now there's other things that you can do. You can adjust the color, the look. You can extract the audio, and you can enhance speech and also move it up to like a second track if you want to have overlays, or if you want to have this maybe smaller and have like a picture-in-picture thing. So there's a ton of stuff you can do with it, and I think it's pretty fascinating. Now you might be wondering, like, hey, I do have Premiere on the desktop. Why should I use something like this on the phone? Well, the reality is, a lot of times when you're let's say you're in the train, on the plane, waiting in a station somewhere, I already started editing videos coming back from the event because I wanted to have it ready. And the cool thing is, a little bit of a spoiler, you can export it to Premiere Desktop and you can carry on working with that. So you can either do like a rough cut, do that on mobile, or you can, if you work on social, if you have like time sensitive stuff that you're filming on an event, you want to put it out, you can already start with there. Now let's go back a little bit to our home base, and let me show you a bit more of a advanced edit that I did. It's a 1.5 minute video that I did with a wonderful community. We went to play beach volleyball, and I have a couple of things here. It's quite an extensive timeline. A couple of things happening here, multiple sound effects, titles, and I'm just gonna play this for a minute. Robert hier von Adobe, und heute treffen wir uns mit der Video-Community im Roberto Beach zum Beachvolleyball spielen. Wir werden ein paar Gruppen machen, wir haben 2 Felder. Okay, now you will realize I did use a mic, but the sound still sucks. And as we all agree, sound is super important. Sound is just as, maybe even more important than an image. If the image is not perfect, you can be forgiving, but if it sounds like crap and you don't understand what the person is saying, this will kill your video. Now, of course, ideally, we have a sound team, with a boom operator and proper mics and everything is leveled and all is good. But the reality is also that sometimes batteries die. Something, you don't hit record. I don't know. I guess, who did not experience any sound or tech hiccup in his life? Show of hands. See? And that's why things like enhanced speech can save your day. Now, with this sound that you just heard, I can click on that clip and I can go to enhanced speech here in the middle. And now it's off. And you heard how it was with wind, and I can turn it on. If you do it the first time, it will analyze it. It will take a couple of seconds, but it's really fast. And let's check it out. Hier von Adobe, und heute treffen wir uns mit der Video-Community im Roberto Beach zum Beachvolleyballspiel. That's nuts, right? I mean, if you compare it as how it sounded before, let me just show you the before and after. Oh, sorry, wrong button. My fingers are too big. Enhance speech. Okay, now off. Hier von Adobe und heute treffen wir uns mit der Video-Community. You know, you have all those wind noises that are now filtered out. That's really amazing. And you can use that in the free version as well. So no matter if you record a voiceover on your phone or if you have anything that you've recorded even with an external mic like I did here, you can improve that. Now, what else do you see? You see that we have subtitles. So you can create captions with this app. You can also style the captions. You can select the caption. You can go to style and you can choose anything else, maybe something that is a bit more fancy, something like this. And this will represent all the other clips as well. Now, you can also use, you know, I did a couple of things like this here, for example. And that little sound, you know, so I added sound effects. So I love playing with sound effects and basically just toying around. As you can see, I've used a mix of 360 footage. I used phone footage. I used stills that I just put into sequence. So you can do all those things in the app. And of course, I also added music. Now, you might be wondering, how do I get music into that? Well, you can go back. You can go to music and audio. And then you will find that you have soundtracks, voiceovers, sound effects, gen sound effects. We'll talk about that in a minute. Your music and files. So you can do literally anything that you want with it. But I would like to show you soundtracks because that's really cool because you have over 2,000 free soundtracks that you can choose from and you can use. So I don't know, anything that, you know, let's look for summer or something. I know it's winter, but hey. Party loop, I don't know. Some of them sound very like corporate, I agree, but there's like some really good jams in there that I really like. So you can choose anything, and if you like that, you just click on it and add it, and it will be put here as a track. Now, you can also record voiceover or do sound effects. And for sound effects, I do have a special little something that I would like to show you. Now, this is another clip from another event we did. You might be thinking that we already do like a ton of fun events. So yes, we do. I love sports, as you can tell. So we did volleyball, basketball, water skiing. So that's from water skiing. So that's fun. So let's see what's next. But let me heal up first. But if you want to join us, hit me up on Instagram and we can see if we can invite you guys. Now, let's play this quickly. Oh, that's the test sound, sorry. All right, that's actually that's two members of our community. That's Steven and that's Dominic. So no pressure, right? That's how they roll. Not everyone can do this. Okay, I can't. I was super happy to have them because that was possible to do that with some cool looking footage. Now we had Rocco, who is an amazing FPV drone pilot, and he was flying like literally a meter behind us, like super close. Now with FPV drones, you don't have sound, right? Because it's not recording sound, only video. Now the actual clip, the raw clip, sounds like this. So apart from music, there's nothing, and I added the music. So I would like to add a sound. So how can you do that? Well, there's something that's called generate sound effects, and this is really, really cool. So how can you do that? You go to, let's just go here, music audio, generate sound effect. And now this is a generative feature. So this is using AI. This is like a paid feature. A wooden plank sliding on wood. Now, the thing is, I have, in my 20 plus years, I have about 10 gigabytes of sound effects, right? And there's always this one thing where you just don't find it and you just go nuts because it's that super specific thing. And of course, Foley artists and everything, it's wonderful. If you have the budget, the time, please do that. But sometimes when you have a quick turnaround, low budget, no budget projects, it's sometimes difficult. So that's why this is really, really cool. Now, a wooden plank sliding on wood is, I don't know. but I can perform the sound, and I'm going to completely embarrass myself here for you guys. Now, I can click on record and watch what happens. Okay? You can clap if you like, but okay, so, oh, amazing. It's almost spot on, okay? And now I can click on generate. So let's see what it does. Fingers crossed the demo gods are with me today. This live demo, okay? So I'm not doing any bullshit here. I love this one, okay? Add a sound effect. Now, and of course, I can time it a little bit because it's just a little bit off. I can again go in and just frame accurately position it. And I did the same with some water ambience and a couple of tips for that. Because usually you should not do like, okay? Anyone does this when he or she is animating, editing? No? Max, I see you. Of course. With Max and me, we shared the studio for, I don't know, 15 years or so. And thank you for coming, by the way. And he had to stand me being in the same room doing like when I was doing stuff in After Effects and Premiere. So now you can make good use of that. So I practiced this for years. But kidding aside, what you should not do is not do all those sounds together, but do them like topic-wise. You know, like wood sliding on wood is like, and then is like the splash, and you could do like would be the ambient for the water. You know, you figure it, Sam. So do all those sounds separately as separate tracks, and you can also then mix and match them better, and also lower the volume and do panning and all that kind of stuff. So that's better to do. So that's a lot of fun, and I tell you, this is so much fun. As you can see, here's a couple of more. Yeah, so it's a ton of fun. Try it out, believe me. Now let's take another look at some generative stuff because that's also something that blew my mind when I tried it first. Now, I was in Croatia for my vacation, Rovinj, beautiful, and I saw this, I was just lying, that's when the interview was here, like, where was the best spot where I edited something? That was actually in Croatia on a sunbed at the beach. So I saw, it was like a storm was closing in, the sky looked incredible, like super dark, like purple blue, and I saw this little seagull, thank you, just standing there, and I was like, wow, this looks great. I took a quick photo, and it's a horizontal photo, right? It's not a portrait, so I can't use this in my story. I could use it like this, of course, but hey, you know what? You want to be like, you want to have it filled in. So now, let me show you something else. So you can click on that image, you can scroll to the right, and okay, by the way, before we get to the, I can blame the medications, but I'm not taking any painkillers anymore, so I won't do that. If you want to animate a photo, right? Usually you Ken Burns the hell out of a photo. You know, like you zoom in, you zoom out, you pan left, you pan right, and at some point we've reached the limit of Ken Burnsing a photo. Now, yes, you can do that. You have animation and photo motion, so you can choose any of those effects here. So there's quite a lot you can choose from, but sometimes it's better to turn a photo into an actual video. Now, first of all, I would like to expand that photo because it's not the right format. So for this, again, I'm going to select the photo and going on expand image. I'm just going to expand that image from its original format to my 9:16 format that I need. Let's wait and let's do its thing. It's usually quite fast, so should be there. So this is basically my signal to, oh, I was too slow. Now, I have 4 options to choose from. Oh, this is interesting. I didn't have that in mind, but something like this, I like this one because the pebbles are really big, so it gives you some perspective. I'm gonna use that. So that's pretty cool. So now already I have something that looks better than that thing that we have. Although it looks cool, this looks better. Now I can click on image to video right next to it, and I can say, seagull on a pebble beach, just chilling. I'm just gonna do resolution. Let's do it a little bit lower. it will be faster. So yeah, let's just click and generate. It uses 100 credits for this generation. And you can always see your credit generation. So what it does is basically it uses the Firefly model. It will analyze the image. It will look at what's happening, and it will also look at the prompt that you gave it. And then it will basically roll the dice and will give you something. You know, sometimes the result is excellent. Sometimes you have to redo it because, you know, I don't know, sometimes the seagull all of a sudden had like 2 heads. Can happen. But usually it's pretty spot on with a pretty decent result. Yeah. Let's see. If not, I do have a backup. Depending on how fast it is. Going from this cable through Wi-Fi to my phone. Oh, 66, 80. Oh, can you feel it? It was not 6.7, right? Because my kids would freak out if it would be at 67%. They would be like, oh, 6.7, Dad. Okay. Okay, wow. Yeah, it added a couple of seagulls in the back. Yeah, not too bad. I would probably regenerate. I can show you what I have here from the last time. So this is the last result. That's pretty cool. I also added a little bit of color grade. And speaking of color grade, let me show you that really quickly because there's so much more I would like to show you. So you can go to looks. You can even add LUTs now. That's a feature that we just introduced last week. So you can click on that plus and you can add LUTs if you're filming in log. Or you can choose any of those presets here. And there, by the way, they're Lightroom presets. So you can choose those. Or you can go in manually and adjust anything that you would like to have. You know, you can add a little bit of warmth in the midtones. You can add a little bit more warmth in the highlight. You can add coolness in the shadows just to balance it out. You can add a vignette. I love vignettes. Maybe that's too much. Maybe it's something like this. Yeah, I love vignettes. Look. But of course, you can also add grain. I'm also a sucker for grain, so that looks really cool. And if you look at that in full screen, I think it looks pretty cool. Now, all this said and done, what you can do now with this is you can click on that top right arrow and you can start to export it. So first of all, you can choose the resolution from 720 to 4K. If it's an HDR content, it will also give you an HDR toggle that you can toggle on and off. And you can just export it. Or you can click on Premiere Desktop. It's beta. It will collect all the files, will upload it to Creative Cloud, and then you can go into Premiere Pro or Premiere Beta right now, and then import it from Creative Cloud, and you can just carry on. Little disclaimer, not everything is 100% one-to-one, especially with subtitles, because it uses a different format. But there's also like a little description of how you can basically work around that depending on how finished your clip is. But you can carry on working on in Premiere Desktop, which is super fun. If you just envision that you started with working on the phone, you know, like. Endless fun, you know. I was going up and down all day. So yeah, that's Premiere Mobile for you. So hope you enjoyed this. Again, if you want to download it right now, here's the QR code. If you want to scan it, feel free to do so. You will also find it in the App Store. If you just look for Premiere, you will find it. Now, this is a lot of fun. There's one more thing that's coming up very soon, and would like to play a short little video for that. So yeah, that's something that I'm also looking super forward to. tight YouTube integration, templates, everything. So that's a great partnership as well. Okay, so who wants to see something about Premiere? Anyone using Premiere? Yay! Okay, who's working as a filmmaker? Who's working as an editor? Okay. Who's working in motion graphics? Okay, cool. All right, let's go, because there's a ton of cool stuff around Premiere as well that I honestly, I'm dying to show you this, because the first time I tried it, I was blown away, literally. And that's all the film impact stuff that we have included in the not the very latest, but the release from September. Now, film impact is basically, they were like, Film Impact was born in Netherlands. It's a pretty small company, and we acquired them in September, and they have one of the best plugin sets that you can have for Premiere. And I only heard of them, I never tried them, and then as soon as we had access to it, I tried it and was like, okay, yeah, well, another plugin set. And I tried it, and my first reaction was like, ooh, what? I'm not kidding. I'm not saying this because I'm biased, I'm working at Adobe, and yeah, I have to say it. No, I don't have to say anything. I can say whatever I want. And honestly, I was shocked at how cool they are. Let me show you. Now, I have a couple of clips that I filmed in New York recently this year. So basically, I had the idea of filming something in some cool street. This is a street where I think Batman. What was else? I think there was like 3 or 4 movies. I looked it up, like cool movie places in New York. And this alley, this was super nice. My colleague Shawnee was like, "Hey Robert, why do you have to drag me to this stupid street?" And I was like, "Because they used it in the film, man." And it was really looking cool. And then of course we nerded out, because in fact it was really looking nice with all the lights and everything. And I had the idea of going down with the camera, starting in the subway also from like a top shot, going to bottom, and then transitioning over to like a tracking shot. And yes, you can do this all without the transitions, but using a couple of those transitions is really helpful, because they can help you emphasize the motion and what you want to tell in terms of like the story that you want to tell. Like, hey, we're going down, we're going up, we're going sideways, whatever. So basically, those plugins help you. I will show you how to use them, but they just work just as a normal transition. You have different effects, and this is also something that is pretty new. You can basically work with a gizmo like very similar to to like this gizmo. So this is also coming. This is currently in beta, in an advanced version, but it's also something that is really cool for sound effects. If you didn't know, you can use this to make the sound fade in faster or slower and much more eased instead of like a linear fade. You can hear the difference. If you know, you know. So that's really cool. Now, how can you use those clips? Well, let me show you one clip. First of all, I think this one, this here. Yeah, let's use this one here. Okay, now when we have this clip here, again, I was risking my life being run over by some crazy drivers in the middle of New York. 2 people watching me that I'm not run over with this crazy German guy with a camera in his hand. Now, you will find the film impact stuff if you go to Window, and then you go to Extensions, and then Film Impact Dashboard, but you can also find it in the browser, so you can look for all those effects. If you type in FI for Film Impact, you can find them. They're categorized by basically by logical aspects, like effects and transitions. And in effects, you have subcategories, and the same is true for transitions. Now, I would like to start with an effect, and you have, like, if you go to effects, you have a couple of classic ones, like blur and vignettes and all that. But I love bokeh stuff, right? Max, you know this. I'm a sucker for bokeh. Like it has to be like shallow depth of field. I love it. Now, let me try to replicate the experience that I have. So this is the clip, and it's a 4K clip. I'm just going to apply that. And then now you can already see it looks pretty cool. And if you draw your attention to the left here, you will see this is how the effects look like. Now, there's a couple of sexy stuff in there. If you know, you know. Chromatic aberrations, gain, lens distortions. This is the good stuff. It's not just, hey, make it like a bokeh. It actually can refine it. Now, you can crank up the blur amount, make it like really, you can make the apertures like 6, let's say 6 edges. You can have also like a little bit of fringe. You can also increase the fringe if you want, or decrease it. So this looks pretty realistic. And you can also add a chromatic aberration to the left and to the right. Now, me thinking and knowing this from other tools, I'm like, all right, that looks cool. Let's hit render and let's grab a coffee. And then I did this. And I'm like, wait, what? And it just freaking plays back in real time. I couldn't believe it, honestly. I was shocked because I've never experienced something like this with this fidelity and quality. Now, this is true for any other effect. You can do, I don't know, where's the light leak? No, light leaks. Volumetric rays. This is also super nice. Just hit apply. You can crank it up, and you can just choose the the light position. You also have like a little controller here, so you can just go like this. I mean, this is nuts, right? I mean, this just plays back in real time. Like, I still, like, honestly, if you can't tell, I'm not acting this up. I'm honestly impressed by it because I just love it so much. So I was like, oh yeah, let's do this, like bokeh the hell out of it, and let's just add like a little graphic on it. And of course, you can also add animations. So you can have this wiggle, you can have this animate in 3D, you have even type animations. So don't get me wrong, I love After Effects. It's my favorite tool. I use it every day. And I would use it even more if I would have, just After Effects on my plate. I have a couple of other tools, but still I love After Effects. And this is not replacing After Effects. This is just for, if you want to have something that has to be done, like on a fast turnaround when you're an editor. It's not always necessary to fire up the behemoth of After Effects with all its power, like for something like that simple. It's super nice to have this being able to do it in Premiere. I think I added the volumetric lights on this one as well with the intensity. And then when you turn it down like this, towards the street, this looks super cool. Now, there's a couple of things that you can do. If we go back to this clip here, you see that Surprise Me button, which is really cool because the Surprise Me button will give you random, like it will basically, you remember roll the dice? This will roll the dice for you randomly. So you can try out new looks just by clicking the Surprise Me button as many times as you want. And a cool example is to go with the mosaic effect because, that's the classic mosaic that you would envision, right? But there's actually so many looks that you can generate. You can make it look like glass or make it, I don't know, super abstract like a painting, and you click abstract, Surprise Me. Actually, the last one looked pretty cool. So you can really play with this as much as you like, and this is true for every effect. Now, the other thing that is really cool is, as you saw in the transitions, that you have Bezier level controls, so you can animate in and out, so you can ease the transition within the effect, which is also quite spectacular. Now, there's also those transition effects. So if you go to transitions, you can see all those transitions here. So let's say you want to go from this clip to this clip. You can do that with the chaos. Sorry, you need to select 2. You click on apply, and this will be then applied. Now, there's a couple of other things that I would like to show you. I think there's one that I really like, which was the VHS, or like a really cool one. VHS damage. This one looks nice. It has to fit the project, but I love grungy stuff. There's also motion camera, which is also quite amazing. So let's try that one. It's almost like zooming up. Doesn't make sense for this clip, but still gives you a cool effect. It would be nice if you have like something where you dolly up or something. You can use that to enhance the effect. So again, play with that. They're available for you at no extra charge. They're all there. So that's something that is quite spectacular. I would like to show you. Is it this one? I think it's this one here. Yeah, don't worry about the font, because this project here is using 2 lines of text, or 2 or 3 lines, and 2 icons. And let me just play this back for you. yeah, so that was pretty mind blown. This was done by my colleague Jason. He really wanted to knock this out, and yes, it was stuttering a little bit because he was really going crazy, like trying I don't know how many hundreds of clones and adding multiple effects onto that. So and it still performs like super nice. And again, just by using two PNGs, two icons, and adding all those effects to that. So that's a ton of fun. Now, there's a couple of more stuff that I would like to show you that is not in the release version in Premiere, but in Premiere Beta. It's in a public beta, so everyone is free to try that. It's available for everyone, and it's something that we've been working on quite a lot. I don't know how long, but it's been a while. So, and it's something that I'm personally like super excited. Next to effects is something that you really have to do on a constant basis, and that is masking stuff, right? Masking stuff to isolate it, masking it to put something behind, masking it to color grade it separately, you name it. Now, it wasn't one of our core strengths, to be really transparent. So yes, you could draw mask and you could track, but yeah, let's not go there. Okay, so I want to isolate this handsome gentleman because everything is just like too dark and too bluish. I want to color grade him separately. So what can I do? Well, here's our new mask tools. You will find it here. So tiny button, mighty impact. So let's click on the ellipse tool first. Oh, there's more, but let's go with the ellipse first. So let me just select that. And even having this, like basically this, I know it sounds easy, but we didn't have this. Now we have it, which is great. Now you can also double click on that and you can just use the Bezier handles to reposition that depending on the size and shape that you want to have. So you can work like that and make sure that everything is covered. Now this is the first frame, which is great. Now I can go in and color it separately, but I need to track this. Now how can I track this? Well, there's that little button here on the top right, and you can use automatically forward and backward, or just backward or just forward. I'll do both, and I will just click on track. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Done. I'm not kidding. Okay, so that's done. So it's fast. Okay, so we heard you. Everyone said, hey, it's not fast enough, it's not good enough. Okay, give us some time. But now I would say we are pretty much delivering on that. So of course you can feather it out a little bit because you don't want to have like hard edges. And then you have that ellipse. Now you can also say like, hey, but what about the neck? You know, if I go to Lumetri color and now I color grade it separately, a couple of things to notice: that the effect first was at an unassigned mask. This mask has to be assigned to something, to opacity or an effect, Lumetri color. So since I had the mask selected and I applied a change in Lumetri, it will auto assign it to Lumetri, right? So you can, let's just deselect it with a mask. If I toggle Lumetri on and off, you can see that already this looks much better. This will give you a much better appearance for the guy, going from like almost pale to a little bit more alive. Also adjusting the exposure, but his neck, it looks like he's wearing like a flesh-toned scarf, which is not something that I would like to advocate for. Now, this works perfectly well for this shot, but again, the neck is not, it's like an organic shape. Now, what can I do? I can go in and I can also use the pen mask tool, and I can create like a little shape like that. Okay, and then of course, I'm just super quick right now. I would go to the mask, and again, I would use the pen mask and also track that. Yep, it's also really fast, and now that's tracked. Now, as you can see, it's super well tracked, and it's like it's basically tracked to this point, but it's moving it away because I don't know, perspective. So what you can do is you can choose between the clip and the frame mode. And if you go in here and go to frame mode, you can adjust it just a little bit if you want. And then you go ahead, when it drifts, you adjust it, and then it will add a keyframe, right? So you can do that, but the track is maintained. So you can have basically two overlaying each other. Do it one more time. I think 3 should be enough. Maybe here a little bit. Okay, it's drifting a little bit here. Okay, just like that. Okay, so this is how you can basically fix that. Now, you still have that, and you can assign that also to Lumetri. You can put it in here, and you can have the blend mode. So you can add. So right now you can see the neck is pretty now. We need to fix the ear. We can do that afterwards. But I'm being quick. I have a pretty decent version here. You can invert it as well. So what I did here is I have two Lumetris, one for the background and one for the foreground. And the background is basically inverted, darkened, and added a little bit of more blue, going into that classic orange and teal, complementary colors, blue and warm, or cold and warm. So basically, this is how you can work with that to really get a cool result. And you can intersect the mask, you can subtract or add, really depending on what you need to do. Now, there's another example. Let me use this one here. This handsome gentleman. You might or might not see a couple of basketball examples, so you are warned, okay? So I did this before injuring myself, and I would still do it again. So yeah, let's go ahead and quickly add a rectangle mask, just like that. Blur it up and darken it just to give it some vignetting for the sky. Now what's happening is it's also darkening his already dark hair, and I don't want to do that. Now I can go in to the ellipse tool, and now I can do that. And of course you can double click and you can play with the new handles, so you have a lot of options. And now going back to effect controls, I can go in here and say this one is here and this will be subtracted. Oops, sorry, the other way around. Subtract, right? So now it's not darkening the face and the hair, but only the sky. So this is how you can work in conjunction with multiple masks. Now this is all cool and fun. Now, we're not finished yet because there's even more to that. So, hey, here we go, a basketball example. Now, this clip is really cool. I like this. This is pulled from Adobe stock. This guy is faking his out of his shoes and goes up and boom. No, I can't do that anymore. Anyway, now, how can we, should we do this? What is it? Rectangle or oval shape or pen tool? No. Get ready. I'm going to object mask now. And now, oh wow, look. It asks me, what do I want to select? Hi, how about this guy here? So let's just select this guy. And how about tracking this? Oh, this will take an hour to track. Well, no, not quite. So, yeah. So it's using basically a machine learning algorithm. So it's also using luminance values. So depending on contrast, but it also uses logical values, like it is understanding what an arm is, what a leg is. So you can do really cool stuff with that. And now you can color grade this. I did this here before. So I turned everything black and white other than the hero, added a couple of speed ramps. So it goes up and goes like, boom, okay. Now, on Instagram, I posted a tutorial and someone said yeah, nice. I want to see this guy do this on a dark background. And I was like, check out my other reel. So this was this one. Yeah, so this is pretty much difficult, right? Because, if you crank up the gain and the levels and everything, you will see that there is some contrast, but it's really tricky. Now, let me just go ahead and select this one again. Oh, look, I got him. Pretty cool. And even if he didn't get the ball, or if it didn't get the ball, I was saying I'm sorry. Even if it didn't get the ball, I can also select the ball manually afterwards because I can multi-select objects. So as soon as this is done, I started in the middle. It will recognize, hey, you started in the middle. There's something left in the front. It goes back and also tracks to the front. And less than 20 seconds, this is tracked. And now I can say, you know what? Let me assign this mask to opacity, right? And now I have this person completely isolated on a transparent area. And I can also go in and say, I want to see, overlay, like red, or I want to see a checkerboard or something. So you can do all those things. And you can use multiple assets here. You can add to the object or you can subtract. So let's say I don't want to have the ball, I can subtract the ball. Now what can you do with this effect? Well, you can do stuff like this, that you say, okay, let me just add a little bit of text that I want to place behind this person. You can scale it up if you want. So let's just select the text. Let's make it, I don't know, 500, just a little bit bigger, and just place it behind him. And I've added an effect onto his body, which is the mosaic effect. I was just playing with surprise me until I found like a cool looking effect, which is, I don't know, like something like this. And I can even go in and add another effect. I added like a glow RGB split effect to the ball. So that looks really cool. And again, it's playing back in real time with the mask and with the effect on it. So that's a ton of fun. Now, what about if I'm selecting the object mask, because it will analyze, so it analyzes the picture, it sees, okay, there's one player, there's another player, it might see something in the background. It's a very, very difficult example that it shows here. And yes, it does recognize the backboard and the hoop, but not the rest. But hey, I want to, maybe I'm a producer of those basketball rims and I want to highlight just the rim and I don't care about the rest. Well, you can just draw an area and then it will realize that or recognize that, and you can click on minus and then get rid of that tree, get rid of this one here as well. Yeah. Okay, and now you only have the hoop and you can track only the hoop with the stand. So that's amazing. So it's a lot of fun. Let me show you one more example that is really common where you can really use that. And this is something to pixelate persons, right? Pixelate a person's face, pixelate a license plate or anything that is maybe critical for documentaries or fiction stuff or anything that you'd like to do for. So we have a situation with a woman, she's taking off her glasses. So what can we do? Well, of course it will recognize, okay, phone, person, another person, and nothing in the background. So that's fine, but we could, yeah, maybe there's another person here, but we can also do this manually. Now, how about if I just want to have the face? Yes, you can do it manually with all the masks and the shapes that you just saw a minute ago. But I can also go ahead and say, I just want to have the face, right? And it will just recognize the face. I can track the face really quickly, but what happens with the glasses? And oh yeah, no problem, glasses are gone. I still know you want the face, dude, here's the face. Now, you can go ahead and leave it as it is. And you can go to Film Impact Dashboard and let's look for mosaic and click on Apply. Close that, we don't need it anymore. And then you have it perfectly pixelated, plays back in real time. You can also choose a number of tiles to make it maybe somewhat recognizable or not. But this is the beauty of how you can work with that. You can feather it if you want to have like a little softer appearance of the mask. This is nuts. This is amazing. Honestly, please try it out. So much fun to work with. Another thing that I would like for you to try out. Let me see if time is running. Actually, I didn't look at the time when we started. I did this rookie error. When did we start, or how much time do I have left? 20 minutes. That's a lot of time. Okay, great. You all cool with 20 minutes? Anyone wanting to leave? Okay. You know, like, usually I would say, yeah, try to leave, I'll catch you, but hey, not this time, you know, so. You know what, let me fire up Premiere again, because this is an extra I wanted to show you, because you're such a nice audience, and this is something that I don't have to show you, but I would like to show you, because I think it will ease up your life. So, let's go into our New York project. Again, a lot of talk about AI and generative AI, but also a lot of people forget that AI was created to help you. And yes, generative AI can also help you to be more creative. I'll show you a couple of examples. We saw the sound effect stuff, but AI is so much more. It's like machine learning that actually helps you to get stuff done faster. And you know, apart from the incredible mask stuff, another example is media intelligence. So if you go to that little button here, that little thing here, search panel. If you click on this one, this is actually pretty crazy, because now you can actually search for content. Well, you might be saying, well, that's nothing new. Well, it is new because it's using visual search. Visual search means that it will index your content, your project locally. So it's not going up in the cloud somewhere. It's indexing it locally. Will analyze the clip on what is it seeing in the clip. Is it a basketball player? Is it a car? What is it? Now, since it's indexed, I can also use that. So for example, I can type in like skyscraper, and it will find all the skyscrapers, that I have. This will look at everything, which includes visuals, text, metadata, but it will, also find something that looks like a skyscraper, which is visuals. But if I would have like transcripts where I'm saying like skyscraper, it would find it. Now, I can type in bridge. As you can see here, technically it's an underpass. It was used in Spider-Man, but hey, bridge, underpass, who gives? Anyway, so you can see that here Sean is standing. We're here under his bridge. Sean, it's an underpass. But metadata, you can also look for metadata, specific data. So anything that you are looking for, you can find it. Now, it gives me almost 100 results. And I would not recommend looking for single word, visuals, but instead imagining more like a descriptive approach, like almost like reverse prompting. You know what I mean? Like prompting is not just man under a bridge, but be like really, like a beautiful man, Sean, with dark glasses, standing with a puffy jacket under a massive steel structure / underpass with cars driving by, like be like really long, like you would explain it to like a blind person, because you have to be really, really explanatory about what you're seeing. So now, I don't want to have a bridge. I want to have a bridge with a man running. Oh, wow. Okay, that's crazy. Because I remember we were doing kind of like a fancy action movie sequence, pretending, like camera gear, and people were like, not Brad Pitt, but anyway. So he was like, pretending that he was being followed, but I mean, this is crazy. I mean, yes, he's not running here, but still, he found from those over 100 clips, he found like pretty decent results. And this works with everything, like whatever you want to describe. So try it out. This is media intelligence and visual search you can find here, and this will, I guarantee you, this will speed up your workflow. This is nuts. Or street at night with cars, and it finds me all the night clips with cars. If I have it just street at night, it will give me also this cool alley that we filmed, and actually 300 results. But if I want to have street at night with cars, so that's crazy. Please try it out. It's so much fun. So that's pretty cool. All right, now a couple of more things I would like to share with you, because it's just so much fun. Who has heard of Firefly boards? I can't count. No one else? Seriously? Okay, wow. It's exactly, yeah. Thank you. You paid attention. This was announced in late summer in beta. Firefly boards, what is it? You might be asking. It has to do with Firefly, but it's not just Firefly. So there's actually more you can do with it. So it's basically your creative playground, as you can envision it. Like a board where you can ideate together. You can collaborate together with coworker, with clients. Maybe you have to think about it if you want to. You have to be careful which board you share with a client, but you can work with clients. Ideally, it's to collaborate, to ideate, to find an approach, a visual style, a flow. Now, let me show you better than slides is to actually show it live. I have a couple of boards that I've prepared here. So let's start with this one. So this is like an abstract board I created. I was looking for a background that I can use for After Effects to do some 3D objects, because now in After Effects you can texture objects with SBSR materials from Substance, so you can like really make them look realistic in After Effects, which is crazy. So you can do stuff like this. Let me go in here, and basically I have those pill-shaped things. Just animated them, turned them, and all the reflections, everything is like done in After Effects with the shadows and all. And you can see the depth of field. Like I said, I'm a sucker for bokeh. So that was fun. But how did I get to that result? Well, I started out by basically prompting something like a surreal environment displaying an abstract textured wall crafted from cement. So I used Firefly image model. I have a couple of results here. So let's just regenerate again, just for the fun of it, just to see what it comes up with. So yes, you can start working on a board, generating content. And ooh, I like this one. This one is pretty sweet. And this one is cool too. Yeah, so you can work with that, and it's like basically an endless canvas. So you can zoom out as much as you like. You can invite people. I think not sure if I invited anyone. No, not to this. I did. Emily is invited. So we both have access to that. We can collaborate on this one, and she can do the same things that I can do. I can organize the pictures. I can basically go in and make them in like this nice little layout. Even something small, and like even just this. Oops, let me select all of them. Something like this, people go crazy about, because how many times do you just go like, oh yeah, I just want to have like a nice little layout to present to my client, for example. And you can also collect the items and create an artboard that you can then download and send along if you don't want to send the whole artboard. Now, this is how you can work with that. Of course, you can also go in and say, hey, you know what? Let's just go in, and this is another project I worked on. You can just upload stuff right here to your board, and you can just rearrange it depending on how you would like to basically lay it out. You can play with it with different arrangement styles. You can have rows, columns, or mosaic. I think I have mosaic as a default. You can have rows like this. So that's a really cool way to collaborate, and you can just add anything that you like. You can also add videos, but you can also generate videos. Now that's another cool thing I would like to show you. So I think, where was it? Boards, is it this one? Yeah, it's this one. I wanted to do something like where I could create a fake title sequence around a sci-fi film. As much as I love basketball, I love just equally much Star Wars and science fiction. So you can see that I was playing around with the idea of having like a cyborg and like this over-the-shoulder position. Yes, technically I can do this in 3D. I just don't have the time and the resources to do it in 3D quickly. So I basically created something, and I used After Effects to color grade and add some grain and some type and title animation, basically doing something like this. And then I was like, hey, you know what? That guy, he's like a real cool dude, and I can use different models. So I can not only use Firefly, but I can also use, for example, Nano Banana to create images, or you can use Ray 3. Basically, you can use any model that you can choose from here in this list. So you can have Picard, Ray 2, Ray 3, Runway, VO1, VO3, 3.1, VO2, VO 3.1 fast, and you can even request the model. Now, there's a couple of differences you should be aware of, because commercially safe is only true for the Firefly video model, because that's trained on content that we have a license for. Now, we have partner models because the community wants it, right? The community wants to have partner models. So basically, you should be responsible. Technically, yes, you can create Darth Vader in here with, I don't know which model. Are you allowed to publish that one? No, right? It's a simple answer, because copyright. Now with Firefly, you cannot create Darth Vader, right? Because it's not been trained on intellectual property from Disney and Lucasfilm and so on. Now you should be really wary about what you choose for what, but yes, you can choose those, and there's absolutely results where you can be safe on what you use and how you choose it. Now here's a couple of more examples, and I can also show you how I work sometimes. I have like this 3D model of the spaceship that I created in Cinema 4D. I didn't have time to basically put that guy into the cockpit, so I did this really, really cheesy mock-up of like this super fisheye perspective, like in Top Gun, when you see the helmet bubbling around, and so I wanted to have something like this, so I create that. So maybe I can do a little trailer around this or something like this. This is a little bit over the top. But yeah, so that's a lot of fun on how you can work with that and combine it with real images. You can also use real photos that you can choose from. In fact, because we're talking about it, for 2 weeks I had to lay on the couch, which was super boring, next to preparing this masterclass. I took 2 photos, one without my super fancy thing here, and one with on it. And I used 2 images, one as a start frame and one as an end frame. And then I just nerded out because I was so bored, and I had like stuff like this. I sent this to my doctor. He was like, "What the what?" So yeah, you can have fun with it. You know, it's maintaining the look and the visual aesthetics, and I mean, it's just nuts what you can do with that. You know, like. So some are better, some are worse. I don't know. I think I use mostly VO for this try, but it's so much fun. You should try it out. Now, there's another thing I would like to show you, and this is the I think it's the last part, which is so much fun. So you can go into new, and you can go to audio. Now there's a couple of things that you can do. You will be able to create soundtracks, so generative music as well. Again, you have the option to choose Adobe stock music from the library. You can generate sound effects, or you can just hire a musician, right? I just want to point out that is still a very good and fair thing to do. Now, the reality is sometimes you have so many turnaround times, like I want to have 10 reels until Friday, right? You probably won't be able to find a musician that will compose a music track for an apple and an eye, you know, like for basically nothing. So you don't want to rip them off. I worked on big budget projects, you know, commercial as well as film. Of course you have a musician. Of course he or she is composing like a beautiful soundtrack. And yes, hopefully they're getting paid by the production company. But sometimes you just need to have something quick. So for that, there's also the option to use generated soundtrack or stock music. Now, generate sound effects is also something very similar to what I've shown you in Premiere Mobile. You can upload something. So let's say I want to upload media. So let's choose this one here. So let's go ahead and choose this one. And massive laser blasts fired from spaceship. Okay, well, you know what I'm doing. So let's record that. You ready? I'm not. Pew pew! I hope you didn't catch my laugh, but oops. Oh, okay, let's do it again. Pew pew! I don't know why it's not working. Maybe it's working, I don't know. Let's see. I'm doing this live, but I do have a couple of no. Okay. Here. Oh, actually, I did a couple of like I did like you know, like what I did. So I can show you these. Yeah, this was one shot. This was really cool, like super bassy. Ah, that's the one. You know, I had that like pew pew. I was like, yes, that's. This one is also nice. So that's a lot of fun. So you can do like crazy things. You can of course, let's say, let's get rid of that. Clear all. Upload media. Let's go. Yeah, my cat. Because this example shows what is possible. So let me try to record it. Hope it works. Ah, okay. Rawr, rawr. Okay. Anyway, let's do it without the recording. A lion roaring. Yeah, a lion roaring. That's fine. Let's just do that because I want to show you like a different thing. So, for example, if I would have the timing of this, okay, this is not to the timing that I could not record, but it would be to the timing. I can leave the timing recording, and I could say a cat meowing and generate it, and it will maintain the timing, so you can use the timing that you record to record a different or to generate a different type of sound effect. So this will be a cat now, like you stepped on his foot or a tail or whatever. So, but that's a lot of fun to work with. You can play with that. I have something like this. And I think, do I have another one? I might have a recorded one with the... Yeah. So, so I'm playing back that's why it's not synced, but now you can see it's synced. So that's how it usually looks like. So again, a lot of fun to work with. Please try that out. I think it's pretty incredible. Now, speaking of Firefly, everyone that has a Creative Cloud Pro subscription or a Firefly subscription can enjoy unlimited generations in Firefly across all AI image models. So that includes all the partner models that you can find in Firefly boards. So you have the Google model, OpenAI, and more. And also unlimited video creations, but only for Firefly. So if you want to try out the Firefly video model, this is a great chance. This is valid through December 1 right now. Please stay tuned, try it out, check it out. And I think this is a great chance to test it. Now, we're almost done, but because you're so cool, I would like to give out something for free. So I've prepared a couple of goodies that I like to share with you. So you have in After Effects Chromatic Aberrations. It's a preset you can download without a plugin. You have a grain pack. So basically, I exported out different grain packs in 4K and HD. You can overlay with screen or different blending modes. I have social templates that we have in Premiere that you don't have in After Effects. So I exported them, sorted them, so you can have them in After Effects. If you are working in social, you want to have the save areas. There's a variable fonts panel. Again, difficult to explain, but if you know, you know. Project template for Premiere and a folder structure in your Finder. So you can download that for free. You have to DM me and follow me with the code FUTURE. I'm gonna get you to follow me. So like eventually. So that's one way. Here's again the QR code if you want to do that. Again, DM me with the word FUTURE and you'll get the download link. So thank you. Yes. Thank you. Any questions from anyone? Anything? Yes. I'm always there for you. That's all right.
Hi, hello. How can I make this effect with, for example, you are here and then like going down in the lift and then another scene? I need some special tool or I can make it even with a mobile phone? Somebody was doing this quite often, like last month, and I was like, I need this from my YouTube.
That's a great question. Technically,
Thank you.
Technically, you can. So for what you can do is you have yourself standing like in a room. You can mask yourself out with the object mask and put yourself in a above layer. Have yourself not masked out in the lower layer And in between, you can have a transition from here to a basement. But because you've been isolated, you will maintain your position. And of course, you need to make sure that the light matches somewhat, because it's not like a green screen mask, so it's not super, super perfect. So I would say for social, it will work, like watching it on the phone. For like movie cinema quality, like what I'm used to, like from production standpoint, where everyone is like on 4K pixel peeping stuff, it probably will be difficult, because again, it's doing a really good mask. But if you want to have like isolated every hair strain and everything, you would probably want to do this with green screen and properly lit, and matching the light of one environment and the other, or even changing the environment, the light. So for example, you could have dynamic lights changing from above to underground. But it's a bigger production for that. But yeah, the quick and dirty version would be select yourself, mask yourself out, have yourself longer, and then in between where you're standing, have one clip from the top and one clip from the bottom, and then you can do like a fancy transition. Very similar to the basketball player that was dribbling and the text behind, something like the same technique. I hope that helps.
Thank you. Okay, my question is quite similar to that from the girl. Just the example, we have a perfect green screen with every hair, and somebody built me a background. My experience was it was very difficult to put the person complete in that room, because the shoe is like this, but the ceiling, the Boden, also the floor is different. Does you have this tool to correct that, the parallax, the geometric?
No, it doesn't do that.
This is a really big problem.
Yeah, it doesn't do that. What it does, it's basically just masks and isolates objects.
Okay. No.
What it can do is you can also select a shadow, for example.
Yeah, but this is shadow is good, but but it must be perfect that the feet is really on the ground.
Yeah, what I noticed this issue. I did a lot of green screen stuff in my career. What I usually do is I fake it a little bit. So the most important thing technically visually is what's called contact shadow. So you have different levels of shadow. You have like long shadows depending on the light source. So for example, if I put this thing here, let's say I put this pen here, there's like a long shadow. Yeah. But like if you look really closely, like right under it, there will be like a contact shadow that is like super dark, because it's like the ambient shadow. And this, like the two shadows will ground it, like this thing is not hovering but actually standing on the desk. Okay. Now, how can you do that? Well, one trick is to duplicate the isolated person and basically mask out like from here or from just the feet, and then shift it down a little bit and blur it a little bit. Okay, but this will give you a little bit of a contact shadow. It's kind of like a hack. Yeah. But that's what I did.
But this sounds like a try and error thing.
Yeah. It is a try and error, because if someone is tiptoeing, then it's tricky.
But it's worked for a 3-second video, perfect. But if you have a half an hour short film, that's lots of work.
It is a lot of work.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
Thanks.
Something still needs to be done.
Thanks.
I was wondering about the workflow or anything particular that you have to have in mind when exporting from Premiere Mobile to Premiere on desktop. If there are any effects or something that doesn't take all the way to desktop. So any way to prepare for an export? Yeah,
that's a good question. I wouldn't finish the project too far ahead. Like I wouldn't color grade everything and even subtitles. In fact, subtitles, the workflow with subtitles, you can just easily and just as good or maybe even better do it on desktop, right? If you absolutely have to do it on the fly, on the go, yes, you can do it. But if you know already that you will refine it on desktop, I would probably do mostly like the rough layout, maybe add a music track, even sound effects and all that. That should carry over really well. I don't have the list on top of my mind with all the details, but there's like a specific list that you can find on the Adobe Premiere Mobile website where it lists like what is not supported to 100%, and So you can actually keep that in mind, but also keep in mind that it's still beta, so we're still developing it, and hopefully it will be like a one-to-one thing. It's not one-to-one right now, but yeah.
And is there any effect or anything that is inside of the mobile app that you don't have in the desktop app?
No effect as of now.
Okay.
No. But I can show you where you can actually, hang on, let me just launch a project. Because you can find it, because that was the first time I struggled, like, hey, you can import, but where do I find it? Like, how can I do it? Now, let me show you, because it's important to know. You go into Premiere Pro Beta, you go to File, Import, and import Premiere Mobile Project. So I have a couple of here, so I can use Sigi the Seagull. So that's what I called him. Yeah, he's fantastic. He's a good seagull. So yeah, it's like, for example, one font is not here, so I can download the font if I want to from Adobe Fonts. But I used that for the title. But other than that, everything is here. The picture, the generated.
Okay, now as we see it, I'm wondering, how did the media get there?
It's going up to Creative Cloud.
Okay.
It's packaged on mobile. It's packaged, uploaded, and then it will be available in here. So
for import. Okay, so it uses the projects that are linked to my account. So if I'm logged in Premiere,
you have to be logged in. You don't have to be logged into Premiere Mobile to just work. But if you want to access, like sound effects, soundtracks, and if you want to export it to desktop, you have to be logged in naturally, because where should it upload it to? So that's
okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to download the other one. Let's see how fast it goes. It's a bit of a bigger project, so you can get a bit of a sneak peek on how it looks.
Thank you.
Yep. Anyone else? Oh, in the back. I love questions from the back. Proves that you did not sleep.
Didn't sleep a second, I swear.
That's great to hear. Thank you.
I just wanted to ask a more future-looking question, because AI opportunities are incredible, and the industry is moving extremely fast, and Adobe has to certainly, keep up with the pace. So can we maybe get a little sneak peek on what's next, especially for Premiere or all the other applications that you've introduced? Are we going to get video generation or project organizations within Premiere? Do you know anything about what's going to come soon?
Yeah, so now, that's a tricky question. I can't say like, hey, we're working on this, this, and this, right? However, what I can say, well, I would like to keep my job. Well, what I can say is that, of course, we're monitoring the developments. We're also actively working on improving the tools, actively working on making everything more integrated, Firefly and Premiere and everything to be more cohesive. So that's something that we're absolutely working on. So keep your eyes peeled. One thing that I really recommend is checking Premiere beta. Everyone that has a Creative Cloud has access to the beta apps. You can, in fact, let me show you, because I do get this question sometimes, like, hey, how can I download it? Well, if you go to Creative Cloud, you go to apps, and then you'll have beta over here. Okay, so if you click on beta, you can see like all the tools. It's even updated while I was doing the demo. So there's a new version with maybe new stuff. So keep an eye on that. You're always ahead of the curve so the beta is there for not only trying it out, but also giving feedback. So Adobe I hope this point came across, that we're actively listening to what users demand. And it's not like a kein Wunschkonzert, it's not like, I don't know if you're German or not, but if you understand the Wunschkonzert thing, it's like, hey, I wish I can do, I don't know, this and that and that. Because, well, it's fair if you want it, but the question is it A, reasonable? Is it doable? B, does anyone else apart from you want it and needs it? Because, of course, it's a matter of resources, right? So you have, there's human beings that passionately work on making Premiere the best tool that it can be. But of course, you need to manage time and manage resources, how much you can actually develop. And yes, we're actively listening. And that's why I also say, if you have something that you like or do not like, there's a reason why we have this button here that says provide feedback, and there's also another button that gives you an overview of what's new in Premiere, so you can look at that. For example, improved menu organization. Example, if I click on this thing here, it's not as long. It used to be like about this long, so you'd have to scroll like for a minute and a half, but now it's been recategorized. So this is also coming into Premiere, the full release, but it's in beta right now, because we want to hear, hey, how do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you love it? If not, what is it that you don't like or do you like? So that's why this feedback button here is super important to report a bug, request a feature, or visit a community, the website. You can request a feature, you can go to the website, and it will take you right there. And this is something that people read, right? It's not something that goes into a void. It's something where you actually can recommend or request features and also report bugs. So it's absolutely something that I recommend doing instead of just being mad because it crashed. Yes, it can happen. Instead of ranting on Reddit about it for 2 minutes, rather spend the 2 minutes saying like, hey, this happened. This will help the developers to find the issue and to make it better for you and for everyone else. Hope that makes sense.
Just as a short follow-up on that, how can we get involved with the Adobe Germany team? Are you guys regularly throwing events maybe?
Yes.
Or doing stuff where creative...
Hit me up on Instagram, hit me up on LinkedIn.
Cool.
I can also share my email with you.
Yeah.
I have 3 amazing colleagues. I see 2 here. I don't know where Katrin is. Everyone is nice. No one bites. Everyone passionately loves the products. We deeply care about the creative community. We want you to be able to do your best work. So feel free to reach out. We do events. We do things like this, for example. We also do our own events where we have artists present. Sometimes me as well, if it's video related. We do sometimes fun events like the water skiing, and so whoever I know from the community that I got to know, sometimes I throw things like that just to get people to know and connect each other. We didn't. Yes, we water skied, but we nerded out about effects and film production, and people met and like, hey, I didn't know you're a DP. I need someone that can work with the camera. Oh, I didn't know you're a musician. Cool, blah blah blah. So that's how things grow, and we deeply care about nurturing that and making it better for everyone.
Amazing. Thanks for the time.
Cool. Anyone else? Yes, in the middle. Yeah, you can shout it. I think it's fine, or it's not so.
I just remembered something. I saw a reel recently, and I'm 90% sure that it was from an Adobe keynote on a big international stage or something like this. And there was they showed a tool where it analyzed the audio from a video, and it kind of split it up, the audio, in 5 different parts, and you could turn the wind part down or the bird chirping part up. Is that a thing, or?
That was crazy, right? So that was during Max. It was so-called sneaks, where actually the actual people who work, the developers, the engineers who work on that stuff. That meme with Julia Roberts with the mathematical stuff, and she goes like, that's how I feel when I see something like this, because those are the real geniuses. So they work on that, and they get invited to, basically they can pitch their project. You're like, hey, I'm working on this crazy stuff and this, blah, blah, blah. So they get chosen, who gets to present that particular feature. Now, there were features in the past that were shown, that were experimental, that never made it into a product. However, there are also features that people really enjoyed, that really would benefit a lot of artists from, that made it into a product, like generate sound effects. That was a sneak last year. Now it's a product. So I can't say it will not be a product, but I also cannot say that it will be a product, So wait and see.
All right, I stay interested.
Yeah, but it was real, It's not like everything that was shown there is actually working stuff. It's not like a made-up video. It's actually live. It's working in that moment when you see it, or not, if it's not working, like you saw today for me. Sometimes it happens.
All right, thank you.
Yep. Yep. Okay. So again, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it, and hope to see you next time. And have a wonderful festival of Future Storytellers.